Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. My name is Julianne Meyer, and I am the host of Own Your Wellness. And I'm excited. I have been looking forward to this guest for a little while now. He's very passionate, he's very fun, and I'm just kind of excited to see what's going to come out in this conversation because so far, when we were back in the green room, I was already entertained and having so much fun. So let's bring out my guest, Michael Weitzman, aka Mrs. Staying Alive. Hello, Mike. How are you?
I am doing great.
I'm so excited to have you on the show today. We met through a mutual friend, and I've been looking forward to this conversation for a couple weeks now. So I'm so glad you could make it on the show.
I'm so happy for having me here. I really am.
Yay. So something that I love to always ask and start out with is, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and your own wellness journey?
Well, I'm going to do the cliff notes because I have 62 years of a journey that's still going on. So my cliff notes really regarding my mental health journey started when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I used to stutter. And if you know anything about stuttering when you're 5 or 6, the kids, they do make fun of you a little bit back then. I actually do remember that little bit of trauma when I was very young. And then after that, saw a speech pathologist, and that was okay. Had a normal childhood, nothing else until I got to high school. And then in high school, I was at the age of 16. You know what you're starting to do at 16. You're learning to take your road test, and you're starting to drive and hopefully get a car. So I was taking my road test at the age of 16, and I failed it once, failed it twice, failed it 3 different times. Now, when you're in high school and you fail your road test 3 times, they're not that, they're mean. They get to you. And I also started to beat myself up because I really felt I was a loser because I couldn't pass my road test. I'm not good with tests, even in school. So when that happened, I just felt like a loser. I felt like isolating. I didn't want to go to parties anymore because people were saying, "Oh, so what car do you drive? And did you pass your road test?" And I have to say, I didn't. So once I got through that and passed on my 4th time, high school was pretty normal, but again, had problems with those tests in high school and had problems with tests in college. But I was able to get by. But as I can see from the age of 16, I noticed this mental health condition. It wasn't full-blown mental illness or mental health challenges. It was just I was suffering a little bit in silence because of what happened when I was 16. So after that, had a normal, like I said, I was doing okay in high school and college, and then I got a job in the mortgage industry after trying to find a job after 6 years. Now, all my other friends graduated college very, very easily, and then they got a great job. I did not get a great job after college. It took me about 6 years to get a really good job. I had little jobs that were in dead end. Finally got a job in the mortgage industry, and after 6 months, my manager was about to fire me. He says, "You're not picking this up." And then all of a sudden, unfortunately for him, but good for me, he had a heart attack and someone else took over as a manager. So this other manager said, okay, and this other manager that took over was a top rep. So then I just said, you know what? I'm going to kick butt. I'm going to do everything possible to really do well in the mortgage industry. Even though I still was having those doubts and the self-esteem issues and also having that mental illness that was still, suffering in silence is what I call it. So I got in there and I started kicking butt. I was making money. I was doing unbelievably well in the mortgage industry. But the saving grace was the money. The money was the antidepressant. Because, of course, how can you have mental illness if you have, you're making all this money? Well, you can, and it has happened, and it happened to me as well. So after making all this money, doing well, I found my wife at the time, my ex-wife now. And then after that, I had 2 young girls, and I'm just rocking and rolling and doing well until basically all this time from the age of 16 up until 1999, which was 25 years, I was suffering in silence because the income would go up and down when I'm commission based. And there were times in 1999, I was making very little money. And I had a wife that wasn't working, and she was also very unsupportive. So at this particular time, I had to, get help. And she said to me, and I remember these words, she says, if you get medicine and see a psychiatrist, I'm going to divorce you. So I said, okay. And I'm suffering in silence. I need to do something. And then she said, and then I said, I need to go into a psychiatric hospital. She says, if you go, I will divorce you. And then I packed my bags. I didn't go. I said it again. I'm going to go. And she says, if you go, I'm going to divorce you. I didn't go. And then on the third time, I said, screw you. I'm going. I got to try something. And then in 1999, while just going into a psychiatric hospital for my first time, I started to do this. I started to get help. I call it the triangle. Psychiatrist, meds, and then the talker, whoever the talker might be. Mine was a therapist. So I got on the triangle, and that was what started my recovery, which was I was working on. But unfortunately, that didn't last very long until, basically January 2nd, 2008, I did something called, I'm not going to tell you how or what I did. I used these gloves to try to take my life. And it was really bad. So from 2005 to 2014, I was married with two young girls, and I then also I was divorced. I could not get and stay mentally well. So just to get a recap, 25 years of suffering in silence, what was I suffering with? I was suffering with anger, anxiety, stress, beating myself up, negative thoughts, overreacting, worrying always because of the money. My wife was not working. I was the breadwinner. That was going on, and everything. I couldn't get and stay mentally well, Julie. I tried everything. Like I said, I tried the triangle. Then after that, I was in basically 5 psychiatric hospitals. I was in 6 outpatient units. I also had shingles on my face twice in 9 months and had 22 ECT treatments. That's when they shock your brain. So this is all for this 40 years, 25 suffering in silence, and 15 years trying to work on a recovery with, I said, the medicine, psychiatry, and the talker, but I could not get to the promised land. I couldn't get there. And that was really just the stuff before I get into the good stuff, which I'll say, but that's really the story up until I went into my 6th psychiatric hospital.
That is pretty, I love that you're so willing to share your story, because a lot of people have a lot of shame about, how they're feeling in general. And even if, asking for help. And I know for myself, I let my own mental issues get to the point where I was in crisis. I didn't ask soon enough for help. So I'm so glad that you are able to share your story, because it lets other people know that there is light on the other side, and also that it's okay to ask for help. So I would love for you to talk about how things are for you now and how you got to this point.
Well, let me just finish up. After I went into my 6th psychiatric hospital, this was a divine intervention, divine encounter, or an aha moment of biblical size. I went into this psychiatric hospital, my 6th, on October 16th, 2014. But a couple of months before that, on August 11th, 2014, Robin Williams did what he did. And Robin Williams, I call it suicide, took Robin Williams' life. Lewy body dementia took Robin Williams' life. And when he did that, I got unbelievably sick. Even worse with my depression, bipolar, that's what I was diagnosed with. And I just got incredibly sick. And then I went into my 6th psychiatric hospital, October 16th, 2014. And while I was in that psychiatric hospital, I didn't say I want to be like Robin. I love comedy. I love humor and all that stuff. I said, all I want to do is that I want to get and stay mentally well. So I put together a workshop presentation called The Three Amigos of Mental Health. We do things like, I talk about, what is it all about? It's about, first of all, getting rid of this terrible stigma of mental illness. I don't even like the word illness. I say, my Dr. Rob Kelly friend, I call it a mental injury or a mental health injury. Sounds so much better than calling it a disorder or an illness. What else is the workshop about? It's about, most importantly, opening up about your acceptance that you have something going on. So you open up, tell your story. Something is not right. I'm going to work on my recovery. I'm going to try something to get better, but to stay mentally well. What else was the workshop about? It's all about what I'm doing with you now, telling my struggles, my long 40 years of suffering in silence with my mental health condition. But finally, my inspirational mental health story of finally what? Getting and staying mentally well. And what was it that got me to the promised land was using wellness tools. Wellness tools is what really got me to get and stay mentally well. So I came up with all of that. And of course, the most important wellness tool of them all was using humor, laughter and smiles as my most important wellness tool. It's up there with God and Jesus, to be honest with you. I have the three of them. They're all together, number one. Because I felt that I tried the triangle, remember? Psychiatry, meds, and a talker. That's good. I also had support. I had my parents. If I didn't have my parents, I wouldn't be alive today. So support, as I tell people, is so important. It does. If it's not your parents, it could be someone in your family. It could be a relative. It could be a friend. It could be a coworker. It could be someone at a clinic or a hospital or a mental health facility. Those could be support. So thank God I had my parents, and I did do some support as well, but it wasn't still getting me to get and stay mentally well. So the workshop started while I was in a psychiatric hospital. It's similar to the movie Patch Adams, and then Robin Williams played Patch Adams. He's a real guy, Patch Adams, and his story is amazing as well. And that I'll get into why you got to watch that movie, Patch Adams, as well. But it's so important that I had to do other things to get and stay mentally well. So I started using wellness tools, like putting together a plan to-do list, journaling, meditation. Instead of medication, I was taking that as well. But deep breathing exercises, affirmations. I mean, that was one of the biggest ones that helped me is an affirmation. If there's something wrong with you that you want to change, let's say you used to worry all the time. I've been saying this in my shower for over 6.5 years. Stop worrying as much as you can so you can become a much healthier man. Might sound corny, but it became reality and it became effective. So that's the affirmations. I put together a creed. I put together prayer, God, Jesus, Bible. I'm a part of a Men of Hope group. We go over the scriptures and we go over our stories. It's all about relationships. What else is about? A spiritual life coach that I use. Music, incense. I dance. It might not look like it, but I'm a damn good dancer. Like I said, also yoga. And then on the acupuncture, self-improvement tapes and videos from Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra. These are all. I have a pet cat. He's a wellness tool. The endorphins come out. So these are just some. There's so many, many, many. Storytelling, gratitude list, nutrition. I can go on and on and on. There's so many types of wellness tools you can use with your medicine, your psychiatrist, and whoever your therapist or your talker might be. I'm not telling people not to use what they're still using. I'm still taking medicine. I'm still seeing a psychiatrist, not as much. And I don't need a therapist. I became my own therapist. I became my own coach, my own counselor. And that's what I'm doing, helping others. So these are just some of the wellness tools. You have DBT. You have CBT. There's so many different types of poetry. Oh my God, singing, dancing. I can go on and on and on. Art therapy. This is, look, see this? I made this at a psychiatric hospital. You see the little dog? It has a bobblehead dog. Yeah, I made that in art therapy at my hospital. This is what got me better. No, it didn't. It didn't get me. But at least it helped me do a little art therapy. These are some of the wellness tools. I'm getting people to try, open up, try the wellness tools, try using humor, watching humor, seeing humor, doing humor, whatever the case may be. So that's really what's going on. And now what's happening is now I am now in demand. Yes, I'm in demand because we don't want to get the coronavirus, Julie. We don't want that. We don't want any type of virus. But you know what virus you do want? You want the Michael Weitzman, bipolar no longer, Mrs. Staying Alive virus, where I'm infectious and I'm contagious, and I'm going to spread all over your body to help you with your mental health challenges, addiction, suicide thoughts, and so much more. So I'm a really amazing virus that you want to catch so I can help you and spread into your body and into your soul. And the passion that I have, you can't deny that. You can't go to school and say, I want to take Passion 101. There's no such thing. I got 62 years of passion, baby. I've had my struggles. I've had my disappointments. I've had my circumstances and my situations. But how do you deal with those things? Now I'm dealing with things so much better. Excellent. And like I said, the most important thing is doing the humor. So I just want to get into very important. This is the most important part when I do my workshops, I do my webinars and seminars when we were allowed to do seminars before the pandemic, is that why do you want to have humor, laughter, and smiles in your life? Why? For your mental and your physical self. Well, first of all, you have serotonin and dopamine and endorphins that get released from your brain. It gets that warm and fuzzy, happy feeling. It also has that reward experience when you listen to a joke or you start laughing and it becomes contagious. What does it do? It boosts relationships. It boosts your immune system. These are just some of the things. It kills and dulls the pain. It's good for your heart. They say it dulls and kills the pain. It's good for, it alleviates stress and anxiety, having humor, laughter, and smiles. It produces empathy. It's also a natural beauty enhancer. Look, I'm just kidding about that one. It increases attention. If you want to get attention, boy, right now I can just pay me money. I'll just go do parties and just do my workshop. I mean, I'll make lots of money. But again, it's not about the money. I'm going to let you know when I get a little bit later on. I'm doing this from God's word is to help others. I'm using all my passion in giving value, in helping others with their mental health challenges, addiction, suicide, and everything else. And most importantly, what? We all are created equal. You said it before. People feel guilty to open up and deal with acceptance and just tell their story. There's no shame in there. In the movie Good Will Hunting, that is another one of my favorite movies. Robin Williams goes to Matt Damon and says it 12 different times. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Because, ladies and gentlemen, who's listening to this, it's not your fault if you have suicide thoughts. It's not your fault if you have a mental health condition. It's not your fault if you have addiction or opioid use. It's what you do to change that and work on your recovery. If it's addiction, go check out Dr. Rob Kelly, recovery coach. He's amazing for that. Try other things. You know, there's so many people out there. Dr. Amen does stuff with the brain. I recommend so many people try, but don't stop. Don't give up. I didn't give up after 40 years of suffering in silence with my mental illness. But going back to humor, what else? It's also a way to success. It's like when you do a job interview, you throw a little appropriate humor in there. It's fantastic. What else it will do? It improves your well-being. And the most important reason, Julie, you want to have humor, laughter, and smiles in your life. You know what it is? Because it will make you live a longer life. You know how I know that? I Googled it. No, seriously. The point is, it will. Bob Hope lived to 100. Milton Berle lived to 95. Phyllis Diller, all these comedians. I'm not going to tell you, if you listen to Michael Weitzman, be a different and relatable resource, he will make you live a longer life. I'm going to try. I'll do my best. When I used to do seminars, I used to throw lifesavers in the audience because I feel I'm a lifesaver. I do things like that. I throw brains. I have these little stress brains, and I have 3 AMIGOS of mental health on there. I throw brains in the audience when we do seminars. The kids, these are adults, are running after it. Oh my God, I got to get the brains. And then, most importantly, regarding the humor, is that I also came up with, see, I want to take a look if you see, I came up with Bipolar Gum. That's right. Down on the Bipolar Gum. So now you too can have the taste and the feel of having bipolar. That's right. You can have the taste and the feel. But don't worry. Each stick comes with free hospitalization, ECT treatments, and permission to go naked in your local shopping mall. I've done that 3 times. So chew up, ladies and gentlemen. Chew up. And I got schizophrenia gum coming out next week. What's the point? Have fun with your mental health. Don't make fun. Have fun. Let me be that cool, fun, sexy, relatable, engaging, interactive speaker performer to help you with your mental health and your mental health challenges and addiction and suicide and everything else. That's what I do. And one last question about humor, laughter, and smiles, and this one I'm going to pose to you. How many times does a 4-year-old laugh and smile during the day?
I have no idea, but I know it's a lot higher than an adult.
A 4-year-old laughs and smiles 300 to 400 times a day. That's incredible. You see the kids when they're playing. Now, how many times does a 40-year-old laugh and smile during the day? You have an idea?
I'm going to guess 20.
3 to maybe 12 times a day.
Whoa.
And I'm telling you right now, I laugh and smile a hell of a lot more than 13. I'll tell you that right now, because it's so good for you. The endorphins, it boosts everything. It boosts your mood. If you're feeling down, I'm not saying you might have that day that no matter what is out there, nothing's going to get you out of that, the depression or bipolar or whatever you're going through, your anxiety and stress. I understand that. There are days I didn't want to see humor. But now I'm trying to introduce that as a wellness tool. Here's the wellness toolbox. And I send that to everyone. I mean, I have it. I have my email. I will send that. And most importantly, it's important. What are other things that can help? Watching amazing movies like Patch Adams. He was supposed to graduate as a doctor. And at the end, the doctor wasn't going to graduate him. And he said his diagnosis was excessive happiness. Now, that's the diagnosis I have. I want to have excessive happiness. But the movie is all about what? Is about improving the quality of life of everyone. Whether you have a mental health condition, whether you have suicide thoughts, whether you have opioid use, or any addiction, anything's going on with you, or it doesn't matter if you are gay, straight, that you are religious, not, or just you have a disability or not, or you have a chronic illness or not. It doesn't matter, because what, Julie? We are all created equal. So my workshop with, of course, let's bring her out, with Staying Alive. There she is.
I love that.
Now, Mrs. Staying Alive came out when my mom had cancer, and I would be, I also dressed up as a woman for Halloween a couple of years before that. I'm really pretty interesting looking woman. But the point is, Julie, I was going into nursing homes and assisted living places as Mrs. Staying Alive. What was I trying to do? Well, there's people in there that have disabilities. They have a lot of dementia in these assisted living places, and especially nursing homes. And the people that are young or in wheelchairs or disabled. And what am I trying to do? Just like in the movie Patch Adams, I'm trying to improve their quality of life. They deserve to have a quality of life. That someone that is suffering with anything that's going on with them. Because I'm all about what? Equality, equity, diversity, and inclusion for all people. And that's what Mrs. Staying Alive is. Mrs. Staying Alive is what? She's Patch Adams meets Mrs. Dotfire. That's what Mrs. Staying Alive is about. And it's my little tribute to the amazing Robin Williams. I was the biggest fan. When he did what he did, I got so sick what he did, because I thought he was the most amazing comedian, improv comedian, the best. and also an underrated actor. I thought he was amazing. I love his acting. I love it. He won Academy Award in Good Will Hunting. He did Dead Poet Society. He did so many different movies. I love this guy. And of course, I'm a little favorite with Mrs. Doubtfire. My character is Mrs. Stay In Alive, because I want everyone to be staying alive, baby, no matter what is going on with you. So that's just a little bit of what's going on with Mrs. Staying Alive. I auditioned 3 years in a row with America's Got Talent. They don't understand what talent is. They didn't get me on. I don't understand why. But I also just auditioned for Britain's Got Talent. So maybe they will accept me because they're a little wackier with their British humor than American. So that's just of me. So what else you want? I'm right here for you.
No, I just wanted to make a comment really quick, and then we do have to go to commercial break. But I wanted to say that what I see with you is that, the doctors and the therapists and all that, those people are problem solvers, but you are a solution finder. And it doesn't mean that they can't go together. It's just that you are helping people find tools and new ways of being. And I love that because we're not really taught these things. We're not taught the importance of humor. We're not taught how to, accept our feelings and how to work with them. We're not taught any of this stuff. So I love that you are helping change people's perceptions and having them focus on what they want.
Yep.
Because it is, that's the reticular activating system at work, because what you see, exactly, you get more of.
Joy, you think of me. You want mental joy.
Exactly. Well, we'll be back in just 1 minute, okay? Oh, he is so much fun. I can't hardly wait to bring him back. But I do want to say hello to everybody who's watching us live. Hi. And as I mentioned, we do need to go to commercial break. So we'll be right back after these messages.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
Welcome back. Welcome to Own Your Wellness. If you're just joining us now, my name is Julianne Meyer, and today's special guest is Michael Weitzman, and also known as Mrs. Staying Alive. Let's bring him back. Hello, Mike. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So glad to have you on the show today. So I was thinking during the commercials about a few different things, but something that I really, they kept going around in that hamster wheel of my brain was that, you have this toolbox of wellness tools. Sometimes I know that when I was working on becoming a more joyful person, I needed to try a few things and I felt a little overwhelmed at first. What would you recommend to start out with? I mean, I know humor, absolutely, but you mentioned a few other things like meditation and journaling and things like that. What did you start out with? And how long would you recommend somebody try something genuinely for to see if it's for them?
Well, I started with a spiritual life coach, and it really helped me. This is when I was still suffering with my mental health condition, but I started with him, and he got me to start doing breathing exercises, just laying on the bed and just doing breathing exercises. So if you're going through a hard time and you're still suffering with your mental health condition or whatever's going on, it's so amazing. Just watch yourself and see yourself breathe. And that really was something was very soothing. Also doing yoga that, I'm 62, I'm doing yoga. Yeah, yoga, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can be 102. Yoga is great. You can do chair yoga. You can do regular yoga. There's so many types of yoga. But the most important thing I want people to do, and I say this in my psychiatric hospital that I work at, where I used to be a patient at, and what's important is I want people to do these things to get them to stay mentally well. But these wellness tools, like that, what I would do these a to-do list. Put together a to-do list. So if you're really having a really bad day, or you make the list the night before, and even though you're really still suffering with anxiety, stress, depression, whatever it is, put together a to-do list. You know what? I want to get out of bed. That's a to-do list. I was so bad. I've had those cave of hell moments. I used to call it the ticking time bomb. When I'd be feeling a little better, and bang, ticking time bomb would go off. Then I'd be feeling better, and then bang, it would go off. Then it would go off again. So that was just part of it. There's no fuse on it, so don't worry. So the point is, put together a to-do list so you can cross it off. I got out of bed. I brushed my teeth. I know it might sound corny. It doesn't matter. I took a walk around the block. I went to the library, especially when libraries were always open, or I went on the internet and looked for important stuff, inspirational stuff that will help me. Like I said, Wayne Dyer. Oh my God, you want to talk about something that helped me? Wayne Dyer is so important. His words, he comes out with lines that are amazing. He died a few years ago, but I recommend people get him. They have a book called Excuses Be Gone. There's so many things. That's in the wellness toolbox. He says things like, he says this is what it says, I'm not better than you, but I'm better than I used to be. That's what it's all about, being a better person, not being a better, I want to be a better listener. I want to be a better father. I want to be a better lover. Well, that I don't have to worry about. But Julie, I don't have to tell you everything about me. Just kidding. The point is, try these things, put together a to-do list, and when you cross it off, I got out of bed, I took a walk, you accomplished something during the day. Then here's the biggest one. I say this since I was suffering myself. The most important thing that people need to do that are suffering or suffering in silence with their mental health condition, or even dealing with addiction or suicide thoughts or opioid use, whatever it is, you must keep yourself busy. That is the most important thing. When my mind was not busy and my body was not busy, I started having those negative thoughts. I started beating myself up, all those different things. And I know my audience can relate to that. So keep yourself busy with a to-do list, or do that exercises, do that yoga, do the meditation, put together a creed. I put together a creed, and it became a reality. And of course, I tell you, affirmations, baby, so important. I used to worry all the time. So I told you my worry one. Stop worrying as much as you can so you can be a much healthy man. I also have one that I used to overreact to everything. I was really sick with my depression. It was the worst. So I would say, stop worrying. I started saying, overreaction is not the way. Take a deep breath and have an amazing day. Something like that. I've been saying it for 6.5 years in the shower, and that has become a reality. So those are the things. I'm answering your question that you should be just some of the things that can help you. with your mental health and your mental health challenges.
Well, something that I really want to point out too is that these things that you're talking about, especially the to-do list, is that you actually get a dopamine hit every single time you cross off one of those things that you did. So you are literally changing your chemistry in your body. So it's not any of this, people that might struggle with, touchy-feely types of ideas. This isn't one of those. This literally changes the chemistry in your body. So I am so glad you mentioned that. And it builds self-esteem too.
Oh, sure.
Because you did it. You said you were going to do it and you did it.
Journaling. Oh my God. Write down how you feel, why you feel this way. It's just going to be for you. If you want to share it down the road, that's up to you. I journal all the time when I was sick with my depression. And let me tell you something. There's nothing in my life I felt worse than suffering with my depression, bipolar, whatever you want to call it. It was the worst. And the problem with our society is, it's like there's a great organization with Glenn Close called Bring Change to Mind. And I think you're in California, right? Yeah. So you know about her organization. And she has an amazing quote. Imagine if you got blamed for having cancer. Imagine if you got blamed for having cancer. But why are we getting blamed for having a mental health condition or having addiction or suicide thoughts or opioid use? We shouldn't be getting blamed for that. We're just as equal to anyone out there that's not suffering. And that's the point I make is long. And I just want to make this point that I didn't get into. I always go so fast. The 3 amigos of mental health. You need to know what those 3 amigos are. The 3 amigos of mental health is someone that is suffering with their mental health condition is the first amigo of mental health. The second amigo is suffering in silence with their mental health condition. And the third amigo is someone that's not suffering with their mental health condition. I say to them, congratulations and mazel tov. Good for you. But those people, unfortunately, are the biggest ones contributing to the stigma because they don't know what it tastes like, what it feels like to have a mental health condition. So my job is to educate and awareness to all the 3 amigos, whether you're suffering in silence, or don't have a mental health condition, so that all the 3 amigos of mental health can support and help each other to be good friends. Amigos. That's what that means. So, and I came up with this in a psychiatric hospital. I mean, this is like incredible. That was an aha moment of my life. I really took it that I want to be a spokesman. I want to be a comedian. I want to be an activist. I want to be an advocate. I want to be a speaker, performer, and do everything I can to really get rid of the stigma, tell my story, and deal with acceptance, and use wellness tools. And most importantly, you gotta use that humor for your mental and physical health. This is from the movie Patch Adams. You gotta watch that movie, man. It will change your life. It's so important.
Well, the thing is too, you mentioned that humor changes or helps with your physical self as well. And I've known people that have helped cure their own cancer from watching comedy. And it literally does change you in a better way. So I just want to reiterate that this is not something that isn't supported by data. This is something that is supported. And I just love that you're not going to get that from your psychiatrist. You're not going to get that from your therapist. They're there to talk about the problem. They're not there about solution.
There's nothing wrong with the PhDs and the MDs and the Master of Social Work and the psychiatrists, the therapists. I always say this. It's very important.
Absolutely not.
They have a big role in your recovery. But maybe a Michael Weitzman, Bipolar no longer, Mrs. Staying Alive type is different and relatable and engaging that can help you talk and work on your mental health challenge, addiction, suicides, and everything else. I just want to be a different resource and an engaging, but most importantly, I want to be relatable. I tried to take my life. I also misused some medicine. I also had sick with my depression, bipolar for over 40 years on and off with my mental health condition. So who's the better one that can talk about it is me. But most importantly, I've been mentally well now for over 6.5 years. I am not joking. I barely dip in. I still use the wellness tools, but very rarely. I don't need to dip one because I'm having a bad day. I'm always having that excessive happiness that is from the movie Batch Adams.
I love that too, because something about what you do that is different as well is you take the seriousness and like the heaviness out of it. Who wants to work on themselves if it's a lot of work? I mean,
well, here's one for you, Julie. This is from the workshop. You've heard of Match.com, right? You've heard of Match.com? Well, I don't know if you're married or not. Are you married?
I'm in a serious relationship.
So you're not on Match.com right now. Please tell me you're not. So you're not on Match.com, but I just want to let you know they have a new one out. They have a new site. It's called Matchmd Com, and that's for people that have mental disorders. So on the normal site, I find a woman that has blonde hair and blue eyes and likes to dance. But on this other site, I find a woman that pees a lot, has mood swing problems, and anger management issues. You know what? I'm in love. Yeah, I'm in love. And we're going unsteady. We're going unsteady. Get it? Unsteady. Again, what is the point, Julie? Have fun with your mental health. I am not making fun. I'm having fun. Whatever's going on. So you have a mental health condition. You're just as equal to anyone that's not suffering. And I want to show that to people. It's not shame. It's not feeling guilty. You are that. This is what it's all about. You ever hear the starfish? You ever hear the starfish story? I always do this now. I thought of the starfish story 2 months ago. The starfish story is there's an 8 or 9-year-old on the beach, and all the starfish are floating to the shore. Millions of them, all floating on the shore. And I'm going, and the little boy, the 8 or 9-year-old, is taking the starfishes and throwing it back in the ocean, All of a sudden, an older man comes by and says, "Wait a minute, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm just taking all the starfish." He said, "You can't take all the starfish that are floating to the shore. You can't take all of them and throw them all back in the ocean." So the little boy, the 8-year-old and 9-year-old, takes the starfish and throws it back in. He says, "But you know what? I made a difference in that person's life." That's what it is. I'm helping people one person at a time. If I can make that difference. So I have my book. I'm working on my book, The 3 Amigos of Mental Health book. I want a documentary of the 3 Amigos of Mental Health and my story. I want to do a movie of all movies that really chronicles everything, the suffering, the disappointments, all the things, divorce, everything, losing jobs, everything that was going on. But most importantly, I want to do that kind of thing so people can read the book or watch my webinar or see my seminar and say, "You know what? You made a difference to my father's life. You made a difference to my son." And that's what success is, ladies and gentlemen. You can take all your money and your materialistic things all you want. I used to have all that. My ex has half of it, okay? So who cares? It's not about the money for me anymore. It's what am I doing to help you? That is the most important thing. It's in the Bible. How may I serve? But it's again, what can I do to help you with your mental health challenges, addiction, suicide thoughts, and let me be a different and relatable resource.
No, I love that. I just, you are a resource. And I love that you make that distinction. I'm not laughing at, or you're not making fun of, you're having fun with. And something else that I noticed too, that I think is, and you probably got this from Wayne Dyer, but I am any of the mental illness. You don't own it. It's just something you're dealing with, but it's not you.
I used to be bipolar. I used to call myself bipolar. Get it? Bipolar. Now I'm bipolar no longer. And do it that way. So, and it's all about everything. I tell people you need a backup plan. It's important to have a backup. I had a backup plan when I couldn't get well for 40 years. When I suffered so many years, I had to have a backup plan. I went to my sister, I went to my good friend. If I can't get better, I can't make any money, and I'm still sick for all these years more, can you take me in? I had a backup plan. I would move with them in Seattle, where my friend used to live, or live with my sister in Rockland County in New York. At least you got to have a backup plan. And I tell people, it's all about letting it, I'd say the Beatles song and the Frozen song. What are the two most important songs? let it be, and let it go. And that's what's so important. Let things go. Read the book, The 4 Agreements. It's part of the wellness. It's part of my wellness tool and stuff. The 4 Agreements is an amazing book. And that's what, don't take things personally. That's so important. And people always do. And I'm so good at that. I've read the book 7 times because it's only 130 pages and it's something you should read. I recommend that to everyone, my clients or everybody. The 4 Agreements, an excellent book by Miguel Ruiz. So those are just some of the things, and you can tell. You ever see the movie with Harry Met Sally?
Yep.
Let me tell you something. Do you remember the lunchroom scene? When the lady goes, I want what she has, right? Well, you don't want the big O, okay? We're not going to say what that is. You want the big P, which is passion. Passion is what I can help you with. I can tell you my life story, and I can help you with yours. And we can work together as a different relatable resource. And that's so important. And you just can't go to school. As I said, there's no course to take a Passion 101. I'm the real deal. But most important is also I don't have an ego. And I'm also being humble and showing humility. And even though I'm getting more and more success and more fame, I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart, I am not going to be any different than I am now. It's going to give me a bigger platform to do what I want to do, to help the United States and help people. I'm getting famous in UK and other parts in India, other parts of the world, to be that other type of resource to help people as much as I can.
I love that. And I think that, something that I was just thinking about too, as you were talking, was that, you're talking about having a backup plan. And something that I noticed even earlier was you never gave up. Not once. You just kept on trying and eventually figured out what worked. So I love that. I just wanted to highlight that because a lot of people get stuck and they think too that things like passion or happiness should come naturally. And that is a big misnomer. That is not true. We are creative beings. We are meant to create our own happiness. We are meant to create humor, create love, create passion. We're creative beings. So I love that you are willing to show people a way to be able to do it for themselves because you figured it out.
I'll talk to a homeless person. I deal with people in the shelter. They're not better. I'm not better than them. They're not better than me. That's so important that you get grounded on that. So as a certified MHA trained and certified peer support specialist, and as a professional, motivational, inspirational, memorable, maximum impact, mental health speaker, performer, advocate, a care coordinator, and stand-up comedian. Now, you take those credentials, that's something that I'm using right now to show other people that, yes, it's important. Like I said, I have no problem with doctors and they're all great people. But you know what? Maybe there's a different way that we can help people by relating to them, being a little different, using some more wellness tools to go with the medicine, to go with the psychiatrist, to go with the therapist. And that's what I do. And it's such amazing. And I'm blessed. And I'm always very grateful because, again, it's not going to my head or my brain, either way.
So one of the best ways to get a hold of you is through email, correct?
Yeah, they email me is the best. If they want to call me, it's also 914-523-5766. You put the Twitter on there. You can go YouTube. It's Michael Weitzman on YouTube. I got so many amazing videos on YouTube. They can go on Instagram. I'm always posting. My idea of social media is this. I either want to educate you, inspire you, or make you laugh. I am not going to document that I went all over to the room to go to the bathroom and put it on Facebook. That doesn't make sense. I want to put stuff that's going to educate you, inspire you, and make you laugh. That's what the social media is for me to use out there. And listen, I can go and do hula hooping naked and get 1 million views. I don't want to see myself hula hooping naked. Okay, I'm not a lot of views, but is it educating people? Is it inspiring people? Yeah, I might be making them laugh, but that's not the way I want to get laughter. Yeah. I want to have my clothes on.
Fair enough. That seems kind of logical.
The words
We
that
have
come out of your mouth, it's unbelievable.
we have about 5 minutes left, so I was hoping maybe you could reiterate something that is super important or mention something new. It's up to you.
I want to iterate regarding that the 3 amigos of mental health. It's very important. It's about, again, you're suffering in silence, or not suffering. And I want all the 3 amigos to help and support one another, to be friends. But the most important thing is what I'm trying to do is not just get rid of. I see the sign back there. I want to stomp out that stigma. I don't want there to even be a stigma. I want to walk down the street and someone has a broken arm. Well, I just happen to have something with my brain that needs a little fixing up too. That's the same thing. It's not different. You don't, when people say, oh, he has mental illness, I do a whole routine on myths. Like, oh, I touch you, you got it now. You can't get it from touching anybody or having sex with anybody. That's not going to get you bipolar, okay? But again, these are just some of the things you need to do. So, and the most important, tell your story and open up how you're feeling and go for that recovery. I went from discovery to recovery, then recovery to discovery. So I'm really going places to help people. So tell your story, not your story, do the acceptance and opening up about how you feel and get the help you need. Try all these different people, the clinics, MHA, NAMI, hospitals, clinics, mental health organizations. There's so many places, psychiatrists, therapists, and a little bit of me. And then let that be. And now you can tell your story. Tell your mental health story, whether it's addiction, suicide, or mental health conditions, and then have that inspirational mental health story to help others. And then most importantly, you got to use some of the wellness tools from the wellness toolbox, baby. And again, most importantly, now, you know, we still have the pandemic. It's getting really better. So here's my mask that I made.
I love that.
The pandemic. I just want people, since we got this is again Patch Adams again. So I can't wear this in my psychiatric hospital. I don't know why. But the point is, I'm not making fun of anybody. We're having fun with our mental health and our physical health, and that's what it's all about. I mean, I am like, you know, people say, you know, what is your passion? What's your goal, Michael? What's your purpose? What's your purpose and your goal? Again, the purpose and my goal is to use all of my amazing passion to give value and helping everybody with their mental health challenges, addiction, suicide thoughts, hearing voices, everything that's going on, so I can be that different and relatable resource that might be able to help you a little bit in your recovery.
Love that. I'm curious, is there Mrs. Staying Alive on YouTube?
Oh yeah.
Because I want to check out Mrs. Staying Alive.
She does. I'll do it like this. She has one. She goes, "Oh my God, I just got the vaccine. Oh my God, they put the vaccine on my arm. Oh my God, I've been waiting for that for such a long time. I've been waiting for vaccine. You know why I've been waiting so long? I've been waiting so long because it's been many, many years that something got inside of me."
Oh goodness.
Classic for America's Got Talent, and that didn't get me on. So I'm going to go around America's Got Talent and get on TV a different way. I'm like the white Medea. I've contacted Tyler Perry. This is something, Mrs. Staying Alive's got to have a show. We got to go out there and talk about mental health, disabilities, chronic illnesses, and have fun with it, but educate, inspire, and make people laugh, baby. All about having people have fun. Excessive happiness.
It is. Oh, thank you so much, Mike. It has been such a pleasure having you on the show. You made me laugh, and I just love what you're doing and bringing for the world, not just the US, but for the world. So thank you again for being on the show. Real quick, people, just in case you didn't catch it before, you can email him here. And yeah, and YouTube also. Let's put that one up as well. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Mike. I really appreciate you being on the show today.
I love it. You're great. Thanks for your platform and having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, what a fun person. Talk about passion and humor all balled up into one small human. I love that. Anyway, that is all the time that we have for today. We will be back on Thursday. So enjoy the rest of your week and don't forget to add some humor into your life.